Hi, 91, your choice for hip-hop and R&B. So hello there. Kilo is here with your new episode of Hampton Roads Voices. Yeah. And today we are talking about a very serious topic, but it really can be refreshing. For some people, it can be definitely enlightening, informational, of course. Today's episode is entitled Living with HIV. Yes, living with HIV. Just to let you know, everyone, an HIV diagnosis is no longer a death sentence. That is great news. So we're going to get into what is HIV, because really a lot of people don't know exactly what the virus is, how it affects you, how you can live safely with it. Preventative measures and all types of things. Okay. So we definitely encourage callers and listeners to call in and be a part of this conversation. 757-823-9110. It is called Hampton Roads Voices. We want to hear your voice, Hampton Roads. And of course, it wouldn't be Hampton Roads Voices if we didn't have qualified, legit, special guest experts in on the show. With me today, I have Mr. Jerome Cuffey. He's the Director of Programs for A Hope for Tomorrow, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Hey, how you doing today?
I'm doing wonderful. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for being here.
Yes, thank you.
We also have Mr. James Stevenson. He is an NSU alum, whoop, whoop, and also the Director of Clinical Services at the Minority Aid Support Services Incorporated. Hello, Mr. Stevenson. Hello? Can you hear me? Okay. So maybe we are having technical difficulties. So if we are, we're going to check up on that, and then we'll be right back. Keep it locked right here. It's hot. 91. All right, take two. Here we go. Hampton Roads Voices live right now. Kilo was here, and I have special guest experts. I already introduced Mr. Jerome Cuffey. He's the Director of Program for A Hope for Tomorrow. And I also have Mr. James Stevenson here. Can you hear me now, Mr. Stevenson?
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, and I can hear you. God is good, ain't he?
All the time.
All the time. He's an NSU alum and also the Director of Clinical Services at Minority Aid Support Services Incorporated right there in Newport News. Thank you for being here, sir.
Glad to be here. Behold the green and gold.
I was just about to say the same thing to you. Yes, behold the green and gold. And we also have Mr. Todd England here. He's the medical case manager for Minority Aid Support Services Incorporated. Hello, Mr. England.
Hello.
Thank you for being here.
And thank you for having me.
Yes. Okay. So like I said before, Hampton Roads, this episode is entitled Living with HIV. All right. And I'm so excited to do this episode because I think the word needs to be out. It needs to be out. We need to have a platform and to let people know that HIV is no longer a death sentence. You can live a healthy life, a full life with a HIV positive diagnosis. All right. So before we hop into this conversation, I want to remind Hampton Roads that we need to hear your voice. 757-823-9110 is the phone number. Call in with any questions that you may have. If you want to share your own story, you were diagnosed with HIV positive or even AIDS and you're living a full life, or, you may be having some problems. We want to hear your truth. Give us a call and let us know your testimony, 823-9110. But I'm going to turn the spotlight over to our special guest experts. They're going to let us know exactly what they do and exactly what their organization is all about and how they help in the community and things of that nature. So we'll start with you, Mr. Jerome Cuffey.
Okay, we have a nonprofit organization here in Norfolk. We're located at 5762 Chesapeake Boulevard, and we're at Suite 200. The programs that we do currently offer are case management and non-medical case management, as well as food pantry, transportation to and from medical appointments. And then we do, on the prevention side, we do outreach and testing, HIV testing, where you can get your results in 20 minutes. And we link clients directly into medical care from there if they become positive.
Awesome. All right, Mr. James.
Okay. Well, we're Minority Aid Support Services. We're a nonprofit aid services organization. We're located in Newport News, Virginia. MASS was established in 1998 as a community-based service organization to provide health care support to disadvantaged persons. MASS is operated by African Americans, executive management, and direct services staff members, serving predominantly African Americans and minority clients. Our address is 3112 Chestnut Avenue. We're in Newport News, Virginia. And our services, we provide medical case management programs, which is critical services for eligible HIV/AIDS clients in our local community. Our services include assisting recently released inmates in an effort to promote access to HIV services and to facilitate continual care and monitoring for those in need. Our staff consists of a wide range of caring individuals, including medical social workers, social work case managers, nurse case managers, HIV educators, certified HIV testers, and intake and outreach specialists.
Okay, so what do you exactly do, Mr. James, for MASS?
I provide clinical services. Clinical services means you're providing all the different services for individuals that have the HIV/AIDS virus.
Okay, awesome. And then, so you're from the same company, Mr. Todd, but what exactly do you do in MASS?
I am a medical social worker, and my primary focus is linking those folks who have been diagnosed, linking them into care. And whether it be just with the wide array of services with regard to transportation, mental health services, and just making sure that all of their needs are being taken care of.
Okay, sounds good to me. See, we do have legit special guest experts here, and I'm so excited to get into this conversation. So we have calls already, and so we're going to go ahead and put them on the line. Hi, 921, you're live on the air. Who am I speaking with?
This is Dylan.
You said Phyllis?
Dylan.
All right. Tell me your question, comment, or concern.
Well, I just wanted to share my story. I was diagnosed with HIV
Please do.
in 2012.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, my CD4 count was actually 5. And for the numbers of people, you know, anything below 200 is considered AIDS. So at that point, you know, I was so concerned about my health and my options. But I had a great team of support. I didn't have any income. I wasn't working. And I just had so much support and so many options to get started on my treatment immediately. And, you know, been on one pill a day ever since, and it's been about 5 years now.
Oh, wow. So,
you know, I'm completely healthy, living a full life. I haven't had any, you know, infections, any, sicknesses. I haven't even had the flu. So.
Well, congratulations. That is a blessing.
That's good.
Absolutely. So I just wanted to share that, you know, it's important to get tested. Definitely know your status and then take action. If you are positive, you don't have to live in fear. You can, you know, there's so many options to just take control and be healthy.
Absolutely.
True.
Thank you for calling and sharing your story. Did you guys want to share anything?
Well, I'll go back and he mentioned about the CD4 count. Now, because HIV destroys the immune cells called the CD4 cells, one part of the AIDS diagnosis contains a count of those cells. A person without HIV can have anywhere from 500 to 1,200 CD4 cells. Mm-hmm. Now, when the cells have dropped to 200, a person with HIV is considered to have AIDS. So we just want to talk about, get a little clarity about the CD4 count.
Okay. All right. And we can get into that. All right, sir. Thank you for calling. Stay blessed.
Yes, thank you.
All righty. So we're going to take a quick break, and when we return, we're going to get deeper into this conversation. I want more calls from you, Hampton Roads. Call and share your story like the gentleman that just got off of the phone. Any advice you want to give to anyone who has recently got an HIV positive diagnosis? What do you want to tell them? What are you doing now to ensure that your life is the best that it can be, regardless of, you know, whatever the doctor told you? 757-823-9110 is the number. You are listening to a new episode of Hampton Roads Voices. It's called Living with HIV right here on Hot 91. Hot 91, your choice for hip hop and R&B soul. New episode of Hampton Roads Voices is going on right now. It's entitled Living with HIV. Such a heavy topic, but you know, it's we want to put a refreshing spin on it to get people empowered, first of all, if you are living with HIV AIDS, empowered even if you're not, and you know somebody who is, because you will have information that you never thought that existed, and we are dispelling myths and everything underneath the sun when it comes to HIV AIDS. Okay, so we have special guest experts here on the show with me. Todd England, he's a medical case manager for Minority AIDS Support Services. James Stevenson, he's the director of clinical services at MASS as well, Minority AIDS Support Services, and also Jerome Cuffey. He's the Director of Programs for A Hope for Tomorrow, which is a nonprofit, okay? So, let's get into this. Oh, before we get into the conversation, I want to invite all of Hampton Roads who is listening right now to call in. If you have any questions, if you want to share your story about how you were diagnosed with HIV positive or AIDS and how you're living a full life, your truth. That's what I want to hear. 757-823-9110, 823-9110. All right, so we're going to take it to the basics, fellas, okay? Let's get down to HIV AIDS 101. What exactly is the virus? And what is the difference between HIV and AIDS? Any of you can hop in here.
Well, and I think we don't usually use the term AIDS anymore. We will say now advanced HIV.
Okay.
It's one of those things that helps to reduce the stigma.
Thank you.
And basically what it entails is HIV is a virus that can lead to an infection. It stands for the human immune deficiency virus. This name describes the virus. It affects humans only, and it attacks the immune system. Now, advanced HIV is a virus that may cause an infection, but the advanced section part of it is the condition. Being infected with HIV can lead to development of the advanced stages of HIV infection.
Okay. You want to hop in, Jerome?
No, I was just going to say thank you for clarifying that for the audience. I think a lot of times we hear people say this person passed from AIDS or this person had full-blown AIDS. And a person actually passes away from complications of the HIV virus that advances the HIV into other health ailments, like PCP pneumonia, MAC disease. That's a disease that affects the brain as well. So these are some of the complications and things that can occur when the CD4 cells drop below 200. Basically, your body is immune to any infection. Basically, your common cold or any of those things, bacteria, infections that we come in contact with on a daily basis, can wipe a person out, completely out, once those CD4 cells have already dropped below 200.
Are there different stages, like we call them different things as the virus advances, or not really? No. Okay. So it's just HIV or advanced HIV.
Yes.
Gotcha. Okay. So how is it transmitted? We hear a lot of myths about how it's passed on or how it's transmitted, but how is it truly, factually transmitted?
Well, HIV is transmitted through contact with blood, semen, vaginal fluids, and breast milk. Okay. And it's passed on by having unprotected sex and sharing needles or syringes with a person infected with HIV.
So it's not saliva.
Nope.
No.
What else is it not? Let's get it out there. It's not touching,
hugging, kissing, shaking hands, touching object of HIV positive person.
Or drinking behind someone.
Or eating, sharing the same utensil as someone.
Sharing grooming items, toothbrushes, razors. Even getting spit by HIV positive person. Or getting bitten by an HIV positive person. Getting blood from HIV positive person. Using public fountains, toilet seats, showers. You cannot catch HIV that way.
But to get more technical, it actually takes gallons of saliva to equal enough to infect someone. So we exclude saliva altogether.
Correct.
Gallons. We don't even have that much in our mouth. to even transmit that. Now, keep in mind, Hampton Roads, I do want to hear from you. 823-9110, 823-9110. Now, I remember, I don't know if you guys watch Girlfriends. Were you guys a fan of Girlfriends?
Yes.
No. Yes? Okay.
No.
I love Girlfriends.
Yeah.
So I remember an episode in which, whose friend was it that came to visit? I think it might have been Tony's old friend or Joan's old friend, and she was HIV positive. Now, she had accidentally cut her finger, and the girls had kind of scattered away like, oh my gosh. Is it true that when the blood hits the air, it is no longer able to transmit HIV or advanced AIDS? Advanced HIV, I'm sorry.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
HIV cannot survive very long in the open air or in parts of the body where the high acid content, such as the stomach and the bladder. There must be a way for the body fluids to enter the body.
Gotcha. Okay. Good to know. So we will be, that's going to be a question that we're going to continue to touch on all throughout the show. Just so, that myth about hugging people, kissing people, eating behind them, you cannot get HIV or advanced HIV in that way. Okay. So what is the most common way that it is transmitted? We heard about how it can be transmitted, but what's the most common way, if that's a statistic that's out there? Is there the most common way, quote unquote?
It's unprotected intercourse.
Okay.
That's the most common way that it's contracted.
Gotcha.
Correct.
All right. So how is the virus treated once you get the diagnosis? What does treatment look like?
Our goal is to get folks into care within 30 days of diagnosis, and that looks like getting them to an appointment made with the infectious disease provider, getting labs done, and initially within the first 90 days, we hope to have them on medications. The state gives us certain guidelines that we hopefully we have to adhere to. And so we are always just trying to get them into care as quickly as possible.
Okay. So the first 30 days and then the first 90 days for those. Does that contingent upon, does that depend upon how much I can afford? So
The quick
insurance.
answer,
No. Okay. Because people say they look at Magic Johnson because that's the only person that they knowingly know with positive HIV or advanced HIV, and they say, he's living so long because he has so much money and he can afford, this and that and blah blah blah. But that's not the case.
It's not the case, and actually, he's taking the same medication that my unemployed client's taking.
Really?
Yes.
Good to know. We do have a phone call. Let's get to the phones. Hot 91. Thank you for calling. What's your question, comment, or concern?
Hi there, this is C. So I'm originally from Arizona, and in my senior year of high school, my mother was unknowingly infected with HIV, and she didn't find out actually until she was pregnant, which the doctors had, after having me, told her was medically impossible. And once finding out, she made her decision of having an abortion because she didn't want to have a child live through that pain. And through our trials and tribulations, it's always been me and my mother, we're a team. We found out that, in 7 states, including Arizona, you can bring no action against someone who, knowingly infects you, in harm. Arizona, Pennsylvania, those are the two that come up to the top of my head. But the first few years were so tough on my mother and I, and she is an incredible woman, and she has been fighting so hard. And she's recently become pretty ill. Her viral load spiked over this summer, and she's having complications due to diabetes and HIV together. I just wanted to bring that fact up, that certain.
Yeah.
It's just
It's hard.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're trying to say, and I think California had just relaxed a law. It went from felony to misdemeanor or something like that when someone who knowingly has the virus and doesn't disclose the information to someone.
Right, and I mean it's part of being in a partnership and disclosing that, because not bar you from having sex or enjoying your life, and it's just I don't want that to be the takeaway that that it's negative, but it wasn't a negative connotation. But she's fighting and surviving, and the recent article that just came out that says if you're on PrEP and your viral load is nearly undetectable, that, it's pretty safe, and that's pretty exciting news. But it brings me to the thought of breast milk and how PrEP affects that and how it can pass down. Mm-hmm. But thank you so much for taking my call and hearing that. This is the first time I've ever said in public that my mother has HIV, and she's very public about it, and not that I'm ashamed, because it's her life and I don't want to blast it, but I'm proud of her, and I'm glad she's my mom, and I hope to have many more years with her.
Well, I'm proud of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, and have a wonderful day.
You too. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
Yes, let's keep those calls coming. 757-823-9110, 823-9110. And she kind of touched on it, but it's not just about telling someone that you plan on having sex with that you have HIV or advanced HIV. It's about a choice, because since HIV and HIV diagnosis is no longer a death sentence and you can live a healthy, full life, you give that person a choice, do I want to take the risk, quote unquote, or do I not, and let them know, just let everything, lay it out on the table if you better have sex with somebody. Not only just, I have HIV, but I may be a cheater too. I mean, let me know everything. 823-9110. We're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, we're going to hop right back into this conversation. Our special guest experts is going to let us know symptoms of the HIV virus or advanced HIV, and also a little bit of statistics, some facts for us, okay? Keep it locked right here. It is Hampton Roads Voices, Living with HIV. Hi, 91, your choice for hip-hop and R&B. So we're having so much fun behind the scenes here at Hampton Roads Voices. Yes, and tonight's episode is entitled Living with HIV. It's no longer a death sentence, people. I keep saying that because people need to know it's no longer a death sentence. You can live a very healthy and full life in all aspects if you have an HIV positive or advanced HIV diagnosis, okay? So we are sharing the wealth of information that is all about HIV positive, the virus, everything, okay? Treatment, how to prevent transmission and things of that nature. If you have someone like the young lady who called before, her mother is HIV positive, or if you have HIV and you want to share your testimony, your experience, how you're living a full life, please do. 757-823-9110. I'll throw out this question here. If you have been diagnosed, can you tell me how your quality of life changed, if it did? So if it changed for the better, if it changed for the worse, in your opinion, give me a call and let me know. Again, 757-823-9110. Sitting here with special guest experts, Todd England, Medical Case Manager of Minority AIDS Support Services, Jerome Cuffey, he's the Director of Programs for A Hope for Tomorrow, and James Stevenson, he's the Director of Clinical Services at Minority AIDS Support Services as well. All right, fellas, are we having a good time?
Yes, we are.
Absolutely. Yes. Good time.
Good to hear. Okay, so let's hop back into this conversation. We know what HIV, advanced HIV is. We know the difference between the two. We know how it's transmitted. But what are the symptoms of HIV or advanced HIV? What does that look like in the person? How does it feel, if anything? What's that?
So many people within the first few weeks of infection report like having the flu or those symptoms with the night sweats, with the chills, with just constantly they can't shake the sickness. So a lot of fatigue.
Yes.
And that's for some people. Now, some people don't have any symptoms at all. So the only way they would know anything is by coming out getting tested. So that's another thing to consider.
It does vary from person to person. Thrush is one of those common symptoms that we see a lot of individuals come in with, which is usually common in babies or elderly individuals. So a person that's middle-aged that's having thrush might be an indication that something is going on.
Okay. So like a flu symptoms, and then like Mr. James said, sometimes it's nothing at all. Okay. How is it diagnosed? What kind of test? How does the test? What does it look like? How do you do it? I know they take blood, but what do they do with the blood and all that stuff like that? Do we know that? Are we counting like T cells in the blood, or we don't know all that? Maybe I should have called the doctor.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. No worries. So on the average, about how long does it take for HIV to advance HIV?
Well, that varies from person to person as well.
Okay.
Typically between 5, 10 years, if untreated. It just depends on the person. Because some people are carriers, some people are not, but you get more on the technical side when you start talking about carriers.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Carriers and non-carriers. What is a carrier, quote unquote? Like, what is it? Like, we have the trait, but we don't have the virus?
Not exactly. Not like sickle cell.
Okay.
It's much different from sickle cell. But some people can go for many years without being on medication at all. And some people need to be on medication right away, like as soon as they're diagnosed.
Okay.
And so...
Gotcha. Alrighty. 757-823-9110 is the number, Hampton Roads. We want to hear from you. So according to this website, fellas, according to AIDSVU.org, in 2015, 70% of those living with diagnosed HIV in Hampton Roads were black. And if we compare it out, 5% were Latino or Hispanic, 23% were white. So that only raises the question of why. Why is the African American community so greatly impacted with HIV? If we had to, well, I guess it's based on opinion. Why do you think?
And I think the short answer I can give you is based on the cultural factors, the socioeconomic. There's also our access to health care or our lack of access to health care. Our denial about HIV and how the ways that it's spread. We commonly hear folks with the conspiracy theory regarding HIV. So there are many different reasons as to why this virus is affecting us at such enormous rates as compared to our other groups.
Right, because we're supposed to be the minority.
Supposedly, yes.
Yeah, so if we're the minority and it's affecting the majority of the minority, then yes, we have to ask why.
Right.
Why is this happening? We'll get a little bit more into it. I do have a clip from Ebony.com columnist Michael Arne. I believe that's how you say his name. But we'll play that in a bit, and he's going to get into what he thinks and what it seems like the quote-unquote face of HIV is. And I know Mr. Jerome had a lot to say about that. All right, so living safely with HIV. Is it possible for one partner to have HIV and to safely have sex with another partner who does not have HIV without passing the virus along today? Is that possible?
With condom use?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Okay. Good. With condom use. Yes. We definitely want to promote that, safe sex. Okay. How about if a mother has HIV, is it possible for her to give birth, a pregnant mother, of course, is it possible for her to give birth to a child without passing along the virus? Are we that advanced yet?
Yes, we are.
Yes.
We are, really?
Yes.
Okay. What needs to happen for that to not happen?
The mother actually needs to be on medication throughout the entire process of her being pregnant to prevent the baby being born HIV positive. In fact, in Virginia, we have not had any child born HIV positive since 1997.
Oh, that is awesome.
For a mother that is on treatment, for maternal treatment. So it's been some years since we've had any new cases of babies being born positive.
That is awesome. 1997, that's 10 years ago. Great. God is good. All right, we do have a phone call. Let's get to the phones. Hi, 91. Hello. Hi, 91. You're live on the air. Who am I speaking with?
Raymond?
Hey, Remus. Can you, Go ahead. Share your question, comment, or concern.
I had a study died of HIV.
Say it one more time for me.
I had a study died of HIV. His mother didn't want him, so they buried him back to jail.
Okay.
Sad.
Yeah.
Very sad.
Yeah.
Very sad.
Huh?
Well, thank you for sharing.
Go ahead.
Thank you, sir.
Did you?
Right? Like, another inmate out of the medical, right? And he had AIDS, right? And he was cutting his razor blade. He was cutting himself up, right? The police didn't want to get near him because they knew he had AIDS, right? So him out there like a nut, and I'm cool. I've been tested, all this stuff here, 10 years, all this stuff here. I'm cool. And I don't know what happened to him. I don't know if he's dead or what.
But you get tested regularly, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Good.
I tested right away.
Good.
Well, there's this the myth still out there about how people contract HIV, and the stigma of HIV is still very alive.
And it's going to 32 years for me.
Yes.
I'm 65 now. I must have been like 23 or 22 when it happened. 65 now, so I know I'm cool. I think I am.
Hopefully by us getting the word out and talking like we are on the radio and stations and doing things like this will help spread the information about the HIV virus.
No. I'm just amazed, man. Right? I tried to call last night, right? They had shout out for the people, man, for the birthdays, right? And I didn't think they would accept my call. So something told me to call anyway. So I heard the number. I know it by heart, right? So I called it. Here you are. That's good.
That's good.
Yeah.
Y'all doing a good job. Thank you very much.
Thank you for calling.
Karen.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Yes, let's keep those calls coming. 823-9110, 823-9110. Let's talk about some new statistics, some rising numbers. Like I said, in a little bit, we're going to be playing a clip in which an Ebony.com columnist, Michael Arne, he says that the face of HIV is the gay black man. But now it looks like from statistics that face may be changing. You shared with me off of the air that new statistic, the new rise, is this particular group. Who would that be?
African American women.
Interesting. And it's no longer, I think that is not really a myth, but the stereotype, I guess, if you will, when people think of the virus, they automatically think of gay people. I wouldn't necessarily say gay black men, but that's, I guess, according to statistics, that's who is most affected. But they automatically think it is a gay disease. And it's not a gay disease. It affects everybody across all ethnicities, all backgrounds. It's not a gay disease. Anybody wants to chime in on that?
Just that I think that's why the stigma is still so great within the black community. We can't get past the issue of associating sexuality with this disease. And it's not like that. And that's why so many of us won't go out and get tested. And that's why we have to get the word out to continue to go and get tested.
Continue to go and get tested. Yes. And on that note, we're going to take a quick break, okay? But we want to hear from you. Are you living with HIV or advanced HIV? How has the quality of your life changed? If it's for the better, please share. If it's for the worse, please share. And how are you being empowered? 823-9110, 823-9110 is the number. You're listening to Hot 91, Hampton Roads Voices, living with HIV. Hot 91, your choice for hip-hop and R&B soul. You're listening to a live episode of Hampton Roads Voices, and today's episode is entitled Living with HIV. Yeah. Okay, so we're getting the word out about what HIV is, what it is not, how it can be transmitted, how it can, preventative measures, and everything underneath the umbrella of HIV. I have special guest experts here with me, Jerome Cuffey, the Director of Programs for A Hope for Tomorrow. I have James Stevenson. He's the Director of Clinical Services for Minority AIDS Support Services, Inc., and Todd England, Medical Case Manager for Minority AIDS Support Services, Inc. Yes, and we have you, Hampton Roads, 757-823-9110. Be brave and courageous, and call in and share your story. If you have a personal story on someone you love, or you yourself being diagnosed with HIV positive or advanced HIV, I'm sorry, and you want to, share how you can live prosperous and live without a what's the word I'm looking for? A life that's not. A life that you don't want to live. A positive HIV diagnosis does not stop you from living. That's exactly what I want to say. Okay, so if you want to call in and be a testimony to that, please do. 757-823-9110. Okay, fellas, so I have a clip from an interview with Ebony.com columnist. His name is Michael Arne. And he, talks about the face of HIV and advanced HIV. And so we're going to play a little clip of that right now.
I think now more than ever it's important that we actually see each other. As soon as you said that CDC statistic, it made me think of a New York Times article in December 2013 where they said that poor black men and Latino men are the face of HIV, and much of that has to do with the lack of outreach, that these organizations don't necessarily know how to or are not making the effort to reach out to these communities. And while that is a public health issue that they need to fix, I think in terms of like actually seeing what HIV looks like now, it's important that we see that, because Pedro, I remember watching that and he died. Kareem can go on to live a healthy, fulfilling life. And I think that says a lot about the advancement about where we are in terms of research and fighting the disease. But I also think it's nice to see that you can, I'm glad that he said that you heal and that you live, because for me, AIDS meant death, and I've written about this before. I was exposed to AIDS very early as a child, and that stigma haunted me for so much of my life and gave me such anxiety about sex. But it's important now that someone will look at Kareem and not have those feelings anymore, because they can see that it can be more than just that.
Yeah, no.
Yes, and he kept saying Kareem. He's talking about Kareem Davis from the Prancing Elites Project, who recently shared his story about being HIV positive. Okay, so fellas, let's get to you guys. He said the face of HIV and advanced HIV is the gay black man. Okay, so also he said about getting the story, getting that his story out and having a platform. How important is it from you guys' perspective? How important is it for someone with HIV or advanced HIV to have a platform and to get their story out? How important is that?
I mean, for me, speaking through my personal experiences, I think it's very important to get that story out. It's very empowering. I myself am HIV positive. I found out at a very young age. I was about 21 when I found out, and going to the doctor, first job that I had as an adult, there I had benefits. So I figured, why not take advantage of those benefits and go get a physical, go to the dentist, get my teeth clean, that type of thing. So in doing that, the doctor asked me had I taken an HIV test before, which I hadn't, didn't think twice about it. Took the test. He told me if I call you in for a 2-week, in 2 weeks, if I call you in for a face-to-face conference, then you automatically know something is wrong. If you don't hear from me, just assume that everything is okay. So in doing that, he did call me back for a face-to-face meeting, gave me a diagnosis, told me I was HIV positive, wrote me a prescription, gave me some literature and some other resources, and kind of sent me on my way. I started taking the medication, not really educated, not knowing about a whole lot about HIV at that time. I started having a lot of side effects from the medication. So being very scared, I stopped taking it, eventually shoved those pills in a drawer, and then eventually threw them away. I went into denial for about 5 years. I didn't tell my friends, my family members, or anyone until I had what I call my breakdown moment, where I found myself with a CD4 count of 9.
Oh, my.
And you heard the Mr. Stevenson earlier mention about what CD4 counts can look like, anywhere between 500 to 1,200 for an average person that's not positive, and 200 below 200 being an AIDS diagnosis. I had 9, so that can give you an idea how sick I was at that point.
Wow.
So after rebuilding myself and being able to get on medication and get into some very good healthcare treatment here in the local area, I can say that my CD4 count is now in the 1100s again.
Awesome.
So I have an awesome testimony. It has been empowering for me and has actually opened doors for me and allowed me to have opportunities to share my story with individuals and help other people in the same situation that were in denial.
Absolutely.
And kind of reduce that stigma. So I thought that was important to share.
Yes, it is. So what did your side effects look like when you were first taking the medication that you really didn't like?
Nauseous. Just mostly the nausea. I was vomiting a lot. It was a weird feeling for me because it was unusual. The medications are very strong. They have high toxicities in them. So the medicine was basically getting rid of those bad cells and, replenishing my body with good cells. But in that process, it was really an awkward, emotional feeling that I was feeling at that time.
Okay. So when you got back on your medication after, your breakthrough moment, was it the same medication? Did you have the same symptoms, or did your doctor try to find something else for you?
Actually, for me, I think it was a blessing that that situation happened to me, because during the time when I was initially diagnosed, I was given 3 different medications to take. And so throughout that 5-year experience of being into denial, there were new medical treatments that came out after that.
Wow.
And so then the medication, what they use is combination therapy, where they're mixing different forms of medication together. So now I take 1 pill a day, but it's 3 pills combined into 1 pill.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yes.
Okay.
So it makes it much easier to take.
What it is, so that's the common medication for those with HIV today, that 1 pill every day.
A lot of the newer medications that are coming out now are being made into 1 pills, which make it more easy to adhere to.
What are those called?
The
pill or the medication, the treatment?
The particular pill that I take is called a Tripla.
Okay.
That's the brand, and that one's been out since about 2005, 2006, and that's when I initially started taking it.
So they're different brands?
Yes, they are.
Oh, okay.
There are many different types of medications.
Oh, many different. Oh, okay. Alrighty, but that works for you. So I guess when you go to the doctor, you just have to find what works for you and your body?
Yes.
Okay. Sounds good. Yeah, learn something new every day. Thank you for sharing your story.
You're welcome.
Yeah, so I want to hear more of those stories. 823-9110, 823-9110. All right, so again, according to the little blurb that we just heard, Black and Latino men are the face of HIV due to lack of outreach to those underrepresented groups. So you 3 represent 2 different organizations here today. How are those organizations that you guys represent getting the word out, getting all the information to those underrepresented groups?
I think agencies have done a lot better in recent years. I know that there's a concerted effort with regard to social media to getting to where folks are. And I think that that's what we have been more self-correcting and adjusted. But I think that we have gotten a lot better. I really do.
And a lot of the outreach, we have outreach workers that work at our office, and by them going out talking to people, just giving them general information, let them know the what HIV stands for, what HIV the cure for it is. I mean, just getting out in the community, broadcasting, doing the testing, putting on the different events, those kind of things makes HIV a very awareness. And that information can help throughout the community. If people know, this takes away some of the stigma that people have about HIV, and they see other people living with HIV, it helps reduce those stigmas and make other people want to get into treatment for HIV. So just getting out in the community, making sure that people are aware how HIV is contracted, making sure people understand that it's not a death threat, making sure people understand that taking the medication, doing the right things. You live a normal life just like anyone else do. So those are the things that we try to make sure that we produce and get out in the community and talk about.
That's awesome. That is awesome. And also I think it's important because, like I said earlier, a lot of people, the only people that they think that they know who are living with positive HIV or HIV positive is Magic Johnson. And I think that's not, I wouldn't say he's not a good representation, but he's rich. So they automatically think he's living a good life because he's rich. But I think it's important for people like Jerome Covey, regular, quote unquote, regular people like you and me, who are living prosperous lives. They're living life with HIV. I think that is important because like, oh, hey, he's not rich. Well, you may be rich, Jerome. I don't know. But, he's not Magic Johnson. He lives right here in the Hampton Roads area, just like me. And so that you might have helped so many people who may be in denial right now. It's like, you know what, I need money, or I need to do this, or I need to do that. And we can really get into the type of resources that are available to those who may not have money, or they may have money. But we do have a phone call, so let's get to that. Hi, Nancy One, you're live on the air. Who am I speaking with?
Maria.
Hey, Maria. What's your question, comment,
Hi.
or concern?
I have a comment. I work in the dental field, and we are part of the Ryan White Association, which is a society that actually helps people with HIV and AIDS positive.
Awesome.
And I have found that, with AIDS, it's such a controlled disease nowadays, where like hepatitis or diabetes isn't. And, it's really fun to know that these people have joy in their life again because they have this program and they're educated through the medical field, and they're able to have things paid for through Ryan White. And, it's just a blessing to know that even though, minorities are unaware of, the lack of education for, getting the blood work done, but there's a lot of people there to help.
That's awesome.
And the stigma, for when back in the 80s where nobody would touch anyone, and nowadays, you could feel comfortable eating at a restaurant, you know, or anything else like that.
Awesome. So can you tell me exactly what the Ryan White Foundation finances, or what they help with financially?
Well, they'll help with dental care. I know that.
Cool beans.
We have to get it pre-authorized through Ryan White. So if anything that they need through dental, they will, you know, we get pre-authorization, so we give them a treatment plan, and then they'll see what needs to be done, and then Ryan White will actually pay for it, you know, to help them out, because, you know, that's a lot to deal with. Oh my gosh, you know, I'm going to die, or if I don't take a medicine, you know. So for them to even feel like, oh wow, somebody cares, they increase their positivity in their livelihood, you know, just to go to the dentist or their medical doctor, and, you know, just taking the medicine helps. I've had maybe 10 patients that you can't even see the T-cell counts anymore with the HIV positive.
Now, I'm sorry, it may sound like an interview, but you called and you were very valuable information. How did the Ryan White Foundation come about, or, you know?
Well, Ryan White was this guy back in the 80s who died, and he was an advocate about HIV and AIDS. And I guess they made a society where they're able to help people, to educate them as well as help them out. I think EVMS helps with that. And then they'll, you know, once you are positive in AIDS or HIV, then they'll, you know, take you to the Ryan White program if you decide to. There's some people that actually don't. They figure that they can pay it off themselves. But I have found that, you know, it does help people with their income being a little bit less than, you know, normal.
And is this a national foundation, or is it just based right here in Hampton Roads?
I'm not quite sure. I just know in Hampton Roads it is very good. I know the Eastern Shore was, they had a lot of people come down to our office in the Eastern Shore at one point. Okay. And then now it's all over the Hampton Roads area that we're able to get people from Ryan White Association.
Okay, yes, thank you for sharing that about Ryan White. Yes, Ryan White is a Congress passed. It's a national fund that runs through Congress. It was actually due to his death, the mother went before Congress and actually petitioned Congress and got them to pass the bill. Now it's called the Ryan White bill. So it's a federal funded bill for anyone that really can't afford medication. They don't have to worry, because the medication, the doctor's appointments, all those have been set out for them. The funds have been put aside for them. So awesome. We can go out and help anyone that has HIV. So we don't want anyone, just because you have the HIV virus, to feel isolated or feel entrapped.
You should never feel isolated.
No.
Ever.
So important.
And those are the good reasons why we have to get out and make sure we publicize and communicate those things that people know about the HIV virus and where they can get help.
Now, Maria, do you know your office number from the top of your head if someone is listening and wants to get help? If not, girl, I can Google it.
Okay, yeah, I actually work at a dentist's office.
Oh, okay.
So we work with the Ryan White Association. It is 757 587 7400.
And this is to your dentist's office?
Correct.
Okay. Well, Maria, you've been very helpful.
Thank you.
Thank you for calling.
All right. You guys have a blessed day.
You too. Thank you.
Bye.
Let's keep those calls going. 823-9110, 823-9110. And we do have another call. Hi, 821. You're live on the air. Who am I speaking with?
Hi, my name is Sean. How are you today?
Hey, Sean. I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing well. I think it's a great thing what you're doing. I just have one comment, though.
Please.
I noticed that when you were speaking with the men, you did say that the men were the face of HIV. I just want to add that women, especially black women and Latino women, they are contracting the disease at a high rate, too. And we want to take the stereotype that HIV or AIDS is a gay man's disease.
Yes.
It's a everybody's disease.
Correct.
And I think we need to shine the light on that as well.
Yes, absolutely. I agree with you.
Thank you.
I just had a comment there. Maybe sometimes when we have these panels, we can add more females to that.
Absolutely. Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Sean.
Okay. Bye-bye.
All righty, bye-bye. Absolutely. It is not a gay man's disease. It is not. But, when it first got, out in the open in the 80s and the 90s, everybody, and even now, people still think that only affects gay men. And it really doesn't. Like Sean just said, it's everybody's disease. And now, just like Jerome said earlier, it is starting to affect Black women and Latino women at a more higher rate. Absolutely. Good points there. On that note, we'll take, we have one more call? All right, well, before we take a break, let's keep these phone lines ringing. We calling somebody. Hi, Nancy, when you're live on the air, who am I speaking with?
Oh, my name, I want to be anonymous.
Okay, that's fine. Please do. What's your question, comment, or concern?
I would just wanted to speak on my behalf on being positive. That was just it.
Perfect. Okay. Go ahead. Oh, we lost the call. All right. If you're still listening, please do call, and you can call and remain anonymous. We welcome that. 823-9110, 823-9110. Share your stories. If you have just recently or in the past have been tested positive for HIV, and your life has changed for the better, for the worse, it's still the same. I want to hear your testimony. 823-9110. Make sure you keep it locked right here. We are live with Hampton Roads Voices, living with HIV on Hot 91. Hot 91, your choice for hip hop and R&B. So Kilo is here with a new episode of Hampton Roads Voices entitled Living with HIV. And we've been having a great time empowering people who may have HIV, who may know someone who was loving on someone with HIV, empowering them with information to dispel myths and to get away from stereotypes and all types of things. Okay, so we have special guest experts here. Todd England, medical case manager for Minority AIDS Support Services. We call that MASS. We have Jerome Cuffey, director of programs for A Hope for Tomorrow, and James Stevenson. He's the director of clinical services at MASS as well. And we have you, Hampton Roads. Yes, continue to call in 823-9110, 823-9110. And we are not done with this conversation. Have you been diagnosed with HIV or with advanced HIV? Please call me and tell me, how has your quality of life changed? Has it changed for the better? Has it changed for the worse? Are you living the same exact life you was living before? I need to know all of that. 823-9110. And we do have a phone call. Let's get to that. Hi, 81, you're live on the air. Who am I speaking with, or do you want to remain anonymous?
Hi, my name is Pierre Diaz.
Hey.
How you doing? I'm from the lovely city of Norfolk, Virginia.
Hey.
And I just wanted to, I'm actually the co-chair of the Greater Hampton Roads HIV Planning Council. I just wanted to give a great shout out to the panelists this evening, as well as to the radio station.
Okay. Y'all know them?
Yes, we do.
Hello, Pierre.
Hello, Pierre. What's up?
How y'all doing? And so I just wanted to give a shout out, and also just saying that I'm just so thankful that y'all actually are doing this event and putting it on this afternoon, and just bringing awareness as well as education to the community and the Greater Hampton Roads.
It's all about, awareness. Do you, does the organization that you represent do work with HIV and HIV awareness?
Exactly.
Okay.
Jerome Cuffey, as well as Todd England, they are actually, Jerome, he was actually the chair of the Planning Council prior to me, so he was my mentor.
Awesome.
As well as Todd England, he's actually a member of the Planning Council as well for the city of Norfolk. So we just try to do great work in the city.
Absolutely.
To actually bring awareness as well as bring education to the community.
All righty. If you don't mind, I know you may be busy this evening, but can you tell me a little bit more about the Planning Council and what you guys do for the community?
Well, what we do is we're actually the planning body. Mm-hmm. The actual federal funding is actually given to the actual mayor of the city of Norfolk, Kenneth Alexander, and then the actual mayor then actually disperse those funds to the actual grantees office, which the grantees office is the ones that actually hold the funds for the federal funding. And the planning body, the Planning Council, along with the grantee, we actually do planning as well as budgeting for the actual individuals that are infected with HIV in the actual Greater Hampton Roads. And we provide, whether it be supportive services as well as core services, transportation, food, housing, things of that nature. So that's what the Planning Council is about, as well as being advocate being a great advocate for the community.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Pierre, for calling in.
You're welcome, and we thank you. And I thank you so much for having me on this afternoon.
All righty. Have a great evening.
All right, you all too. Take care.
Thank you.
Love it. We do have another call. Let's keep those calls going. 823-9110. If you are part of an organization or a nonprofit out here that is doing the work and getting your hands dirty with getting awareness out there, helping those who have HIV, please give us a call at 823-9110. Hi, 91, you're live on the air. Who am I speaking with? Hello? Hello? Okay. No worries. All right, fellas. So we've heard a couple people called in, told us about the Ryan White Foundation, told us about the Planning Council, but what other resources are out there for those in the Hampton Roads area and beyond who have HIV?
One of the other programs that I would like to mention is the ADAP program, which is the AIDS Drug Assistance Program, and that is ran through Virginia Department of Health. And so they have a formulary of medications that can be funded by the, it's part of Ryan White also. It's broken up into different parts. And it can get complicated when you start talking about all the different parts of Ryan White, because there's A, B, C, D, E, F.
Gotcha.
And different parts do different services. But Part B is through the state health departments, and that's another resource that pay for medications for people that cannot afford them on their own.
And I know, Jerome, you told me off the air that Ryan White funds both Mass and Hope for Tomorrow. So can you guys tell me a little bit more about what Ryan White does or the foundation does?
Sure. The foundation was founded by, this was a teenager in the 80s that was HIV positive. He was a hemophiliac. And the other parents that the child went to school with did not want him to attend school with their children because he was HIV positive. And so there were a lot of celebrities that stepped up, like Michael Jackson, Elizabeth Taylor, Elton John, along with Ryan White's mother, and they petitioned before Congress to enact the Ryan White Foundation. And with that became federal funds that are funded to all states to provide care for those individuals that cannot afford those services on their own.
Awesome. So what kind of care do you guys use with the Ryan White Foundation funding to help those with HIV? So Mass or Hope for Tomorrow?
Well, for example, I think right now there's someone out there in Radio Land who's listening, who's thinking to themselves, I need help with finding a doctor. I need help with getting my medication. I can't get to these appointments. My doctor's located in Norfolk. So we have the service of medical case management. As a medical social worker, my main task is to link these folks and help them get into these needed services. So we have all these different services, but we have a mechanism in place to where we actually get these folks over to the doctor or dental care, but just making sure that they are getting to their services.
Perfect.
And not only that, just to add what Todd was saying, but the whole goal is to get the person to viral suppression. And what I mean is undetectable status. And that way, when the person is undetectable, they're not spreading the disease to others.
Gotcha.
And so we're trying to contain the disease as much as possible.
That's awesome. I love how technology has advanced so that people can live. You know, people can live and not be a slave to all types of medication. One pill a day. As long as you're doing what you're supposed to do on your behalf, and you can live a life. You know, we see Jerome here. I'm not going to say Magic Johnson, but we see Magic Johnson. And you said, Mr. Todd, that some of your clients are actually on the same pill that Magic Johnson is on.
Absolutely.
Yes, so it's not all about money. Okay. Fellas, let's talk about testing, because that's so very important. It is not only for for gay men, because as we know, it's no longer a gay man's disease, but for everyone. How often should we be getting tested? Or is there a set number? Like, can I go in there every single day? Or, like, what's the advised or the suggested time frame that we should be getting tested?
Well, the CDC recommendation is every 3 to 6 months based on the behavior. For someone that has a more risky behavior, of course you want to get tested more often, but at least there should be 3 months in between each test because there's a window period in which it takes the antibodies to develop once you've come in contact with someone that's HIV positive.
Gotcha. Okay. So, do you, both of you guys' organizations offer testing?
Yes, we both do.
Yes, absolutely. Free testing.
Okay.
All of MAS staff members are certified and trained to conduct the rapid HIV testing. All staff members are trained to implement the pre- and post-test counseling. HIV education is currently being conducted in the Department of Corrections. Norfolk State University, we will be here on the 26th.
The 26th.
To test, so make sure you come out and support us on that. But let me say something about testing, too, because there's some misunderstanding about testing. The HIV test is a rapid test. That means it takes 20 minutes. And what we do is prick the finger, and we get just a little prick of blood, and we put it into a solution. And what we do is wait, and that solution starts a chain reaction, and we're able to detect the HIV virus within 20 minutes. So a person comes in, it takes about 20 minutes to determine whether or not you have the HIV virus. So it's not like you have to come in, we have to draw a long tube of blood from you, send it out to the labs. No, those are not the way we do an HIV test. It's all rapid tests. And we do have the new the combination of the 4th generation test. It's coming out where we're looking for, that test looks for antibiotics and the antigen. The antigens are the foreign substance that causes your immune system to activate. The antigen is part of the virus itself and presents during the acute HIV stage. So now we're able to detect the antigens in the bloodstream. And what this does, it allows us to detect the HIV virus a little bit faster. And that way we can get the person into care a little bit faster. So it just helps out to know those kind of things. So it helps us to let people know how important it is to get out and get tested, and what the effect of getting tested, and how to get tested too.
And again, you say you'll be here on campus, Norfolk State University, on October 26th.
Correct.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And of course, if you listen to the Kickstart, then we will definitely keep you up to date about where, what time, all of that stuff, so you can come out and get tested. Can you tell me about A Hope for Tomorrow and testing, what you guys do?
Sure. We offer similar tests. I think their test is a little bit more advanced with the 4th generation, but we're doing the 3rd generation test. We have a combination of 2 different tests that we use, which is a preliminary test, and then we do a second test if that initial test is reactive. There's a test to confirm that result. So Virginia is now a rapid state where we do, if you have 2 rapid tests with by 2 different manufacturers, then it is a confirmed positive.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So those 2 tests are from different manufacturers?
Yes.
Oh, that's awesome. You want to be sure. Yeah, that's good news. Okay. So we're going to take a quick break. But I do encourage you guys to give us a call at 823-9110. But when we return, I know you want to get tested. I know you want to get treatment, or if you want to get with these organizations for anything, a ride to your doctor, anything of that nature. They're going to give us all the information that we need: phone numbers, addresses, websites, everything with MAS, the Minority AIDS Support Services, and A Hope for Tomorrow, which is a nonprofit. Okay, so make sure you keep it locked right here. It is Hampton Roads Voices, living with HIV on Hot 91. Hot 91, your choice for hip hop and R&B soul. Happy new episode of Hampton Roads Voices. We're wrapping up here, but yeah, we had a really great conversation and getting the word out about HIV and advanced HIV, and how if you are living with HIV, or if you recently got diagnosed, then you can live a full life. It is not a death sentence. And it is affecting everyone, okay? It's not just one group. It's not just one minority. It is everyone's disease. So please, please, please take the information that we have given you and live life and try to prevent it from contracting it, from transmitting it, and things of that nature. Okay, so we have Jerome Cuffey here, Director of Programs for A Hope for Tomorrow. We have Todd England, Medical Case Manager for Minority AIDS Support Services, and James Stevenson here, Director of Clinical Services for Minority AIDS Support Services. Now, we had touched on, really quick, guys, we touched on PrEP earlier in the conversation. What is PrEP? What is it?
PrEP is pre-exposure prophylaxis.
Okay.
And this is a medication that you can take daily to prevent HIV infection. And this is usually for individuals that are at high risk, or individuals that have been in sexual assault situations. There's also called NPEP or NPrEP for individuals like it's just a medication to prevent you from becoming positive, basically. And it's really for high-risk individuals. Our state is broken up into 5 regions.
Okay.
We're in the eastern region of the state, and we have the highest number of HIV infection than anywhere else in the state. And so there is a lot of money that has come into our local area within this last year with PrEP. I don't know if you've seen the ads on the buses.
Yeah.
They say there's a pill that helps prevent HIV. So that's why that campaign is going on in this area. And it's starting to spread around the state now to get other regions on board as well with PrEP.
That's good. Now, we do know that everyday people with everyday budgets can't afford the treatment, but sometimes it gets expensive. What kind of resources are out there to help those afford that type of medication with HIV?
Okay. I can speak to it, or I can let one of the other gentlemen speak to it as well.
Well, there's assistance through the pharmaceutical companies that's working with us for the PrEP for people that doesn't have the funds to cover the costs. And,
so there's resources basically for individuals that are insured and uninsured.
Yeah.
There's a way that the Norfolk Health Department is currently doing a lot of that, and so we would just do a referral to Norfolk Health Department. There would be a screening done to make sure that there are no other STDs or STIs going on. And then once that person, they're checking there for liver enzymes and kidney enzymes and making sure that those levels are acceptable for the medication, because this medication is also one of the same ingredients that is used to treat HIV.
Okay.
So it's becoming more popular, and a lot of people are, as the word is spreading about it, we can get more people on that medication.
Yeah, it's awesome. But that's for all types of medication that treats HIV, not just prevent it, as far as getting like resources available to those who have HIV and need the medication but can't afford it. So that is the same?
Yes.
Okay.
It's the same.
yes,
Perfect.
same.
Perfect. Yeah, good to know. Good to know. But that PrEP pill, let me just, because I got kind of confused and kind of got lost in the sauce. So that PrEP pill are for those for preventative measures, not for those who have HIV.
Right, that is correct.
Okay. Gotcha. Gotcha.
But it is a component of the medication that's used to treat people that are HIV positive as well.
Okay. Alrighty. Okay. Good to know. So that pill is something that you can take every day.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Write that down for myself. Okay, so you guys have any closing remarks? And in that, if you could, please include any contact information for yourself personally, if you want to, or for your organizations. How can these people get help through Hope for Tomorrow and through MASS?
If I could start with Minority AIDS Support Services, we are conveniently located at 2 locations. First being at 3110 Chestnut Avenue, Newport News. Second, here in Norfolk at 2415 Lafayette Boulevard. We do testing daily between 8:30 and 4. Free testing as well. And also for folks who want to get evaluated for PrEP, we will do that service as well. No charge.
Yes, it's no charge. We take walk-ins. If there's any communities out there that's looking for us to come out and do some HIV testing, please contact us. Our phone number in the Newport News area is area code 757-247-1879. And again, we're located at 3112 Chestnut Avenue. And you can come on down, and we have PrEP rallies usually on Friday afternoons. And we do free HIV testing daily. So just give us a call. Let us know you want to come down and take an HIV test. Thank you.
Awesome. A Hope for Tomorrow.
Okay, and the Hope for Tomorrow is, again, located at 5762 Chesapeake Boulevard, Suite 200, and this is in the Lafayette Executive Suite. We're doing testing Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. as well. And our phone number is 757-828-8848. Again, that's 757-828-8848. And we're available for resources as far as PrEP education, PrEP referrals, any clients that want to come in and get tested, even for educational programs as well.
Closing remarks, fellas. What do you want to tell people who have been recently diagnosed with HIV? They may be scared. They may not know what to do. You know, family may have shunned them due to ignorance. what do you want to tell those people? What do you want to tell people without HIV and how to interact with people who have HIV? And, anything you want to say, please do.
HIV is a preventable disease. We cannot judge people whenever someone is diagnosed with HIV. We have to be there for them. And for the person who's newly diagnosed, talk with someone you trust. Find someone, whether it be a friend, whether it be a trusted individual. Feel free to call us, but talk to someone.
And we have support groups that go on. It's the third. Is it the third?
It's the second Tuesday of the month.
Correct.
Yes,
Okay.
the support group in Newport News. Yes.
That's important.
Yes.
Yes, and I Hope for Tomorrow does a support group the second Wednesday of every month.
Closing remarks, Jerome?
I just wanted to mention a few years ago, I was at a conference in D.C. where we had a representative from the White House because there was a national HIV/AIDS strategy put in place through our former president, Obama.
Yes, I miss you.
Yes, we miss you very much. And one of the representatives there at the time said, and this is a Caucasian man, he said, when this epidemic first came out, this was a gay white man's disease. And the Caucasian community got together, they got organized, they got uniformed, they educated themselves, and they did something about it. And so it's going to take the same thing for the African American community right now to do the same thing, get organized, educated, informed, and empowered to do something about it.
I love that. Yes, and I think that we are on the right track with organizations like A Hope for Tomorrow, like MASS, like the many organizations here in the Hampton Roads area. Let's get organized. Let's get the word out. Let's protect ourselves. And also, I think a big problem not only with HIV, but with epidemics and issues all around. People think because it doesn't affect me, I don't have to do anything about it. And that's, not true. So if you know somebody who has HIV, or if you love someone with HIV, or if you don't know anybody at all, do, volunteer, call somebody and say, hey, what, you guys need help with the testing, or, how can I help get the word out? And yeah, I think we on the right track. Thank you, fellas. I really appreciate you being here.
Yes, thank you for having us.
Yes, and thank you, Hampton Roads, for listening. Don't forget that we do have a YouTube channel. So if you want to get more information, listen to this again for any information that you missed or any episodes that we've done in the past, please subscribe to Hampton Roads Voices on YouTube. We will be airing this again on this Sunday coming up. And make sure you have a great one. Keep it locked. It's Hot 91. The views and opinions expressed on this program are not those of Norfolk State University or WNSB FM. Thank you for listening.